Hi everybody and welcome to Photomikes Garage. So the gas gauge has stopped working for about a year, so it's time to replace that. I have a new fuel gauge sender in here from OER, and I'm going to drop the fuel tank today and replace it because I think that's what the problem is. It's probably from 1972, so it's probably corroded and everything else in there. So I got to drop the tank and then I'm going to replace the sender. Okay, to drop the tank, first of all, you have to get the car up in the air quite a bit. You've got to undo the straps. Got one bolt here, one bolt here. The straps will come down, then you have to release them from the top here. And I've already taken the bolts out. There's a bolt here and a bolt here that secures it from coming loose, but actually these straps are hooked over the metal right here, so you have to push them up and out to unhook them. Meanwhile, I want to hold the tank up with maybe a jack stand or two to hold it up while I remove the straps. And of course, I have to disconnect the fuel line right there at the rubber hose. So I've got to do that. Then I got to support the tank, got to take the straps off, lower the tank, and then we'll go from there. Is it just me, or is this one of the most beautiful muscle cars of all time? I don't think it's just me. What do you say? Okay, so I had a number of hoses, rubber hoses, going to the evaporative control system up here. So I didn't bother trying to take everything apart. I just cut the rubber hoses because I'll replace them. These ones here too, I just cut them, gonna replace them. And I also cut the fuel line hose because I'm going to replace that too. So everything's done there. And as you can see, this is the brown wire that goes to your fuel sender. And if we go up to the trunk, you can see that's where the wire comes into the trunk. And it's right here. And there's a connector right here. So we undo that connector, then push it through the hole. And then the gas tank now should come free. Okay, I've got the gas tank supported by a jack. So now I can take off the straps. It's the 9/16. Okay, both straps are now sort of off. They don't come easily out of their slots up here, as I have found. So maybe I don't need to take them off. I'll just reuse these, I guess. Now, let's see if I can just simply lower this tank down. Is it going to be that easy? I don't think so. Keep in mind that as I lower it, I sort of have to get it to move forward, and then down. Okay, that was not graceful, but I got it out. Now, it would be better if you had a helper to do this, obviously, but as you can see, I did it. Also, I did plug all the holes that go into the gas tank because it was starting to leak. You can see leaking out, and it would just been splashing everywhere. So just put little rubber plugs over all the vent areas. Now I found something interesting. This is the positive wire. It goes to the fuel sender right here. It's right in there. And look at this. This is a negative ground that is rusted off. Could this be the cause of all my trouble? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to replace this anyway. Okay, there she is, my gas tank from 1972. I say 1972 because my 1973 gas tank was so rusted out that I replaced it with a 72 at the time, and well, a long time ago, back in the 80s. And the 72 just has a single feed. The 73 Z28 has a return line, and so I've eliminated that on this car, so it just has one feed line. Anyway, right now I'm going to vacuum this area and then try and take off this ring by tapping it counterclockwise, and it's best not to have sparks here, so it's best to use like use a brass drift or something like that to avoid sparks.
Кислородом или углекислотой ни хера не случится. Можно по нему даже, блять, ну я не знаю, там взять, короче, и...
Okay, the ring came off pretty easy. There wasn't really any trouble, so now I'm ready to take her out. Here we go. As far as I know, this has not seen the light of day for a very long time. How do I get this out? Come on out. Oh, there we go. Lever it out. Okay, there you go. The old one is out. It actually doesn't look that bad. The top side looks really bad, but it's not really that bad. Wow. You know, it doesn't look bad at all. Like often on the other YouTube channels, it looks really, really rusty, but this isn't bad at all. Seriously.
No, I mean it. I'm serious.
All right, so this gas tank is halfway full of gas. It's way too heavy for me to be able to wrestle it back into position after I got everything installed. So I've got to drain the gas out. That's what I'm going to try and do right now. Okay, I nearly got 40 liters out of that gas tank, so that was quite full. I actually had to get my son to help me dump the fuel into the gas cans there, but right now it's basically empty, so it's a lot lighter. I've cleaned it up. I've got new strips here, insulation strips where it contacts the underbody of the car, and now I'm ready to put in my fuel sender. Okay, so this is OER, which is a really high quality company. They make high quality parts, high quality company, and this is what I've got. It's exactly like my original in every way. Okay, so there's the sock, this is your float, this is your negative, and then the positive is going to go on right there. Now it does come with the rubber seal. I wasn't sure if it did, but it does. A little bit of silicone just to make sure that nothing binds. Makes everything go in a little bit smoother. So I think that goes like that. We put everything back in like so. All right, unfortunately, I've encountered a problem. I tried fitting everything in, it won't go in. I'll tell you why, because the lock ring, this is the new lock ring. This is the old lock ring. And this is wider than the old one. So the old one will just fit in like so. This one's a little bit wider. The flanges are a little thicker. So you can get it partially in, but it's just a little too wide right here to fit in. So I can either grind this down, make this a little bit smaller, and then use this one, the new one, or I can reuse my old one. I don't know. This really shouldn't happen. I made the command decision. I'm going to reuse my old lock ring. I think it'll work just fine, and this would be too much work for me to modify, and I don't have the patience. So let's give this a try again. I've got my rubber O-ring in place. Put the put the float in first, then fold in the sock into position. sure the wire stays out. And down she goes. In we go. And over. Oh, and over. Oh, and over. Like so. Get that in. Okay, I'll start to tap it in gently with a hammer. Making sure that that's underneath the flange, that's underneath the flange, and that's underneath the flange. Okay. It clicked on. It clicked on. Positive engagement. That's what we like to hear. Positive engagement. A lot lighter with no gas in this tank. Okay, as you can see, I've taken the gas tank out again because the negative ground was not long enough. The actual length was at least 4 inches shorter than on the original. So I'm not too happy. All right, at last, the job is done. The gas tank is installed with the new fuel sender installed as well. Let's take a look. First of all, there's the old one. We're gonna throw this away. Got our license plate back on. There's our gas tank. Completely empty right now. We got our ground connected to this bolt here. So that's the ground for the fuel sender. The positive is coming right through the bulkhead right there. And it's connected right here. So everything's ready to go with the electrical connections. One bolt done here. Other bolt down here. As you can see, I painted the gas tank to make it look a little bit better. Painted the gas tank straps, and they're bolted in and bolted in. And all the hose fittings for the evaporative emission control system has been redone. There's one there and two right there, as well as the fuel line right there. So I'm thinking what was actually wrong with the fuel sender, because everything was clean, it wasn't rusty, is that the ground wire was disconnected, rusted off. So I think that's really was the only problem, but since I was there, I was going to put a new one in. There's only one thing left to do, and that is to test it. So I conveniently have some 94 octane Chevron gas in here. So I'm going to put that in the tank. Gas gauge is working. Gas gauge is working. She's alive. All right, there you have it. So the only problems I encountered with the OER fuel tank sender was that the ground wire was 4 inches too short, which was very annoying because I put the whole tank in and then had to take it out again, so that's annoying. And also the ring, the locking ring is too thick and would not fit into my housing that I had there, so I had to use my old locking ring. So make sure you don't throw away your old parts before you know that the new part's going to fit properly. So just those two things, otherwise I'm very happy with the fuel sender. All right, there you have it. The gas gauge fuel sender doohickey is installed in the gas tank. Everything is working just fine. One more step on the way to driving this car in the spring. All right, so thanks for watching Photomikes Garage. I will see you later.
No, I'm not. You think I'm joking? I'm not. You know what I'm